Everybody, thanks for joining us. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Marquette Township Board, and today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. and we're going to start with the pledge if you'll join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Start with roll call. Randy, please.
Trustee Winslow.
Present.
Trustee Everson.
Here.
Trustee Leighton.
Here.
Trustee Kidda.
Here.
Treasurer Rickauer.
Here.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Kangas, our attorney Roger Zappa. Kim Clark, our finance director, is here. Michelle Schroeder, our executive assistant to the clerk and assistant to the treasurer is here. And our fire chief, Dan Shanahan, is here. And on Zoom, we have Superintendent of Public Works, Leonard Bodinas, is here. And committee members here is Laurel Niskern from our library committee is here. So.
And you won't see us all dressed up like this for another 3 years if at all.
Or 4.
We did our board photo tonight. Thanks everybody for dressing up. Appreciate that. Any public comment before we get started?
Don't you think we should probably dress like this for every meeting?
I think so. Too.
Oh.
I usually try to.
You can.
John Marks would have liked that.
Yes, for sure. You can wear what you feel comfortable in. No public comment, okay, then we need approval of the consent agenda, which tonight consists of approval of regular meeting minutes of June 4th, 2025. We have bills payable in the amount of $213,142.77. I did put in the 2025 AMAR audit that I told you about last week, or 2 weeks ago, so you can read that. It kind of is Greek, though. The Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority abbreviated board packet from tonight. I will tell you the highlights of that later. And the sheriff's activity report for May. We don't have any other correspondence, and we have the May 2025 financial statements in here.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I move to approve the regular agenda.
Hold off on that because I'll motion that a second, but we have to add, the manager is going to add Windows 11 upgrades because unfortunately Windows 10 is supported, not going to be any longer very soon. So, and we chatted about it. So this was an emergency ad. We don't usually like to do that, but because Windows 10 is going to be out of service here within the next month, this is probably a good move to do this. So,
8A.
so
Yes.
yeah.
And this isn't something that's a controversial item. I don't usually like to put things that would upset the public on last minute, unless it's an absolute emergency.
So I'll support that as if Carl's okay with that addition. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, let's start with the library. What's going on? Your first report.
Well, the library board met last night, and I have really enjoyed coming to your board meetings and going to the library board meetings. Both groups are methodical, covering the basics that any public organization, any citizen would want them to cover in terms of spending your money wisely, giving consideration to different options you have, taking care of just kind of the basic business of bylaw updates. And there have been numerous comments made to me that there was a lot more conflict that came to this board in the past, or among board members, even perhaps. I don't believe all the rumors I hear. You seem like a very cordial group. The library operates in a similar way. It is really a treat right now to come to your meetings and see how you're operating. Which leaves me in an odd position. The library board, you get their minutes, they're just going through routine business, doing some minor updates on their budget in preparation for ending the year on September 30th, updating their personnel policies to match their administrative policies, and they're in the middle of contract negotiations with portions of their staff right now, just trying to keep all that hanging together. I have heard you all making comments about things that may change with all sorts of governmental budgets in the future, and you kind of keep that to one side and carry on with the business that's before you. The library is doing a similar thing. And one request I have of you, I don't have any like earth-shattering news to report, but July 9th will be the time this year when the Township Advisory Committee members meet jointly with the library board. Since the library is headed into the end of its fiscal year too and looking at planning and issues for the future year, it would be an ideal time if any of you know about things I don't know about that would make library services a better match for township residents. Or if there are just things you think might be a good idea, priorities that you'd hate to see changed if budgets got squeezed, anything you have to say about how the library is functioning. And then if you don't have anything, that's fine with me too. But now's your chance, the timing's good, everyone from every township is going to be present, and from what I hear of their presentations, different townships, especially the tiniest ones, are coming together and working on projects. They're sharing more. Nobody's reporting any hot news. Thank you for that. And contact me or contact Paul Marin. Paul's on vacation.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Laurel, I did get the minutes, but it was too late for this packet, so I'll get them in the next one, okay? Yep.
My copy right here?
No, I get them emailed to me, so.
Okay, thank
You
you.
say July 9th,
July 9th.
where is that?
It's at the library.
At the library.
It's a public meeting, and you both set the same high standard for transparency, easy access by Zoom, easily available minutes and board agendas. You all would be welcome.
What time would that be for the public?
It would be at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, fire department, Keith.
Good evening. It was nothing too out of the ordinary. I will just basically touch on training. One of my goals was this year was to expand our training with our neighbors. And I know I spoke briefly last month about doing that. And we'll be doing the same again, except this month we will be in Chocolate and with Sands and Scandia, the neighbors down there that way. We'll also be, this Monday, we'll be in Forestville at the Upco Dam. We did acquire some new rescue equipment, and the first thing I'd like to say is it's like about 80% lighter. It used to be a 4 to 6 man job to carry the stokes and the wheel up Sugarloaf. Now we can, one guy, 2 guys, backpack, 2 guys in backpacks, carry everything up. It's a, I mean, what, everybody, especially some of us older guys, going, yeah, because before we'd get it to the top and we'd be exhausted, you know.
Yeah.
Now we got to carry you down.
Full.
Yeah. May was a busy month for calls. We did have 4 brush fires. I think 2 of them actually were on Mother's Day. That it was a very warm weekend up here. I happened to not be around. I was out of town. But the guys were pretty busy. That was a very, very busy weekend for the guys. Medical calls unusually low this in May at 47%. Usually we're running around 75, 80. We auto-aided Marquette City on a structure fire and Chocolate Township on 2 structure fires. And a couple motor vehicle accidents with injuries. Call volume is up a little bit compared to last year, 206, and last year 194. Membership is steady, still at 33. Apparatus is all in pretty good shape. I think and I don't have my report with me, but I think I put in there no word yet on the ambulance. And I've been bugged because we were told January we were going to receive it, and I think we're all, some of you are aware that, and I've been bugging them quite a bit because obviously our crews were wondering too. And so I held off because they said June, after March and all the other dates, previous dates. So I held off, and I did email them yesterday morning, and then yesterday about 4:15 we received an invoice for the ambulance. So, I mean, do we have an ambulance? No, but we did receive. I think this is a good thing. That's all I can tell you. So yeah, I don't have a date, the shipping date, but we did receive an invoice. We did host approximately 50 North Star Academy students the other day, along with the MSP K-9 trooper. And we are in the process of getting quotes to repair and paint the front garage doors. I don't. Any questions on it?
Yeah.
No comments, please. No questions. I'll take them.
None from the peanut gallery, right?
I'm not saying anything.
Thank you.
The medical calls, does that include going to the city too?
Yes, it
I
does.
mean, the percentage and.
It always, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that's-
And those numbers are down quite a bit in the last couple of months.
Mhm.
They were, yeah, they're down quite a bit on this, yeah.
Okay. Thanks for pulling out the membership too. I had asked you to do that, firefighters.
Yeah,
EMTs, so we
right.
kind of have an idea.
Of who was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What might be lacking or needing or,
Yeah.
okay, that helps.
Yeah.
Project inspections, veterans homes, so that you probably looked at the site plan or
We
something?
did,
for-
yes, the veterans did, which is nice. We're not, the state can, dictates how they build their buildings.
Mhm.
But they have reached out, which has been, we're very appreciative of. Just for access, FTC connections, stuff like that. And we did have a Zoom meeting with the architect, and they gave us some plans, and we sort of asked if we could get a little bit more of a roadway. I'm not sure who's seen what, but they've cut out some, to cut costs. Some of the road, and they said they would definitely try and work with us.
Yeah, I heard that they were trying to cut back.
Yeah.
Whatever funding must have
Right,
changed or something.
yeah.
They were
Well,
making.
the bids came in quite a bit higher, I believe,
Yes.
from what we're hearing, from what we're, But yeah, no, they've been great to work with.
Okay.
But
And KBIC, you're going to apply for that?
we did, actually,
So we might see
just-
that on the next board?
Greg, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe how that works is I will put in a board action item to the board requesting that the board write the request for the 2% funds to come through the Marquette Township.
Right. And you needed, what was it, computers or scanners or something?
Yeah, computers for the trucks, they're outdated, talking about Windows 10. We're not even on 10.
The next agenda.
Yeah, that'll be on the next agenda.
Okay. We can note that, so we'll do it.
Yeah, that will be on the, yeah, definitely be sending that to you.
Any questions for Dan?
All right, have a good night. Keep up
Thanks.
the good work.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, Public Works.
Yes, hello everyone. We'll start with wastewater. You might have seen our crews, they've been out there, they've been busy cleaning sewers. They've been generally going through Trowbridge Park here right now, so for the last couple weeks they've been out there cleaning. We did run into a couple hiccups. There's a few homes that water was spraying out of their toilets and stuff, which is not optimal for us doing the work or for the homeowners, but we were able to quickly get a hold of that. We're kind of thinking about different ways to notify our customers. One way that we're doing right now is we are putting door hangers on the last couple of days, just on blocks, letting people know that we're doing this. That way, if there are any problems, they can let us know right away. It's kind of a shock when people are hearing their toilets and their drains gurgling, and that's something that we don't want to do to them. But it is also very important to keep these sewers clean, because we'd rather that happen than the sewers backing up. So we'll be going through and we'll be doing that here for the next few weeks until we get everything clean. We also assisted Lost Creek here in the last week. They had really excessive grease in their system, and it started blocking up their main in their complex. So we were able to go over there and help them get everything out, get it all cleaned up for them, and hopefully we'll be doing more grease trap inspections there, and that'll kind of help them stay on task of that the grease is not getting built up in their sewers. The asphalt patches from last winter's sewer leaks are scheduled to be repaired, so we're still waiting on those. The contractors have been pretty busy trying to play catch up, so hopefully that'll be happening here within the next few weeks. We've also been doing routine grinder pump replacement and repairs. That's just an ongoing issue that we're going to basically have forever, so we keep up on that and keep them all working. On the water side, there was a leak on a 2-inch corp that was where the old Jasmine restaurant was at. So when they were tearing it down, they accidentally hit it. We were able to schedule, it wasn't a real bad leak, so we were able to schedule a shutdown in the middle of the night. So the actual repair maybe took 10 or 15 minutes, but we wanted to make sure that it was done at nighttime so we minimize the impact of the customers on the highway, especially for water. We also have had some routine well house duties, chemical deliveries. We do some general maintenance out there, like repairing the injectors or keeping them clean, and just general duties out there, general test type duties for the required monitoring from Eagle. And we've also been doing some routine meter replacement and repairs. So some of our larger meters are starting to get towards the end, believe it or not, of their battery life. So we've been going through and replacing those as needed. And we're also going to end up probably start replacing some of our smaller meters. So we're going to keep that in mind, that every year now as the meters get older, some of the replacements are going to be needed. On our building and grounds, routine cleaning and maintenance activities throughout the township and all the facilities. So they've been keeping up on all the yard duties and Lions Field duties. Especially over there, it's been really busy. Lions Field areas and the playground have been very busy. Very good to see, very nice to see people out using our facilities, and it's nice seeing kids actually out there in the fresh air and using it and not on their phone. So it's become a real gem of our township to see that, and people are really liking it. We've also got an ADA compliant porta-john that was delivered to the playground area. With the ice rink building itself being closed after hours and during the weekends, we wanted to make sure that there was a facility there to use that was ADA compliant. The pavilion is open all the time, except those are kind of narrow to get in and out of those doors. So we wanted to make sure that there was an option there. And that's, and then one other thing, Eagle did a training for the health department around the area for, drain fields, assessing the soils and stuff for the drain fields. We offered some property for them to use, and we actually got them some holes dug so they could do some proper training for all their sanitarians. And they were very appreciative, and our department, and I just wanted to let you know that they gave a very good thank you to our department and a good word for them. And that's all I got.
Excellent. Any questions for Lenny?
I did go by the Lions Field time. I was just before I came over here, and it was quite busy. Good to see.
It looks fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have planning tonight, but Jason sent an email. It's kind of short and sweet. ZBA dimensional variance request for 625. So that'll be next week apparently. Yeah. I'm guessing, I don't know what time they're going to meet. Do you happen to know?
The ZBA?
Yeah. I
I
don't know.
think it's at 5.
Probably going to be, it should be on the website. Okay, I'll put it on 5. And then there's a short-term rental public hearing the same day on the planning side, as far as I know. Planning Commission directed research on private poultry, backyard chickens, and that's for zoning regulations for urban residential district. So I'm guessing you'll be talking about that
Mhm.
in your agenda. And I wonder if this is a typo, PC directed wetland protection zoning ordinance. I wonder if that's wetland protection zoning ordinance enhancements and updates.
Yep, it would be wetland. Mhm.
Okay. They'll be doing an internal review of the master plan, chapters 1 through 4. That'll be that update. And continuing property maintenance administration as time permits by the current staff. Residential permitting, and he says the construction season is fully upon us. So I guess that's good, especially if they're building in the township. So that's planning. Let's see. And we've got our illustrious attorney, Roger, share with us.
Well, this has been an exceptionally busy month with things crossing my desk. A couple of the ones that you're already aware of, we amended the animal control ordinance, and we drafted the post-adoption publication notice that was in the mining journal. We reviewed the treasurer policies that were recommended and adopted for the most part last meeting. Every 6 to 8 years or so, it's necessary to write off the personal property taxes that are delinquent and can't be collected when businesses go out of town, or go out of business, or can't find them and the taxes are unpaid. This is the year, and I'm sure Michelle will be happy to hear that's getting really close to being done. There were a couple of hiccups there in just tracking down because we have to provide a detailed explanation to the court on why they're not collected. And there are a couple that I just had a question or two on. But that's getting very close to being completed. And I have to look back how many years it's been, but it's been quite a few since that has been done. And there really aren't all that many. So it makes sense to just do that every so many years. And you can't write them off until they've been delinquent for more than 5 years. So that's why it comes up every so many years. 6 years is common. We had a question on political signs that showed up on the Well Road that I wrote a short opinion on. I reviewed the PFM Financial Management Services Agreement and disclosures that had to do with possible bond issues down the road with the water treatment discussions that are ongoing. We had a question on smart rural communities signage that came up that we addressed. And as of yesterday, you have another new lawsuit that's been filed. It's filed by the same person who unsuccessfully appealed the ZBA decision last year. We prevailed on that one in circuit court. This is essentially alleging an inverse condemnation claim. And my recommendation on that is that needs to be forwarded to the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Association to see what their posture is on it in terms of providing coverage.
And we did that.
Yep.
John?
That is done. As of, I don't know, sometime this afternoon.
You were quick, eh, to your response, with a quick response to your email.
That is the type of service we always get from our current agent. Absolutely. He's not even in the office, but still got it transmitted with the proper form that he had to send to me. I had to fill out, send back. Very responsive from that perspective. I couldn't be happier with our current carrier.
That's great. Any questions for Roger? Okay, thank you. Andrew, you're up. We're going to talk about Alice.
All right. Yeah, the report's in the packet. I don't know if I can.
Can we come up?
I can see if I can pull it up. You can start, Andrew. I'll see if I can pull it up here. For you.
This is really information that's just unbelievable. And Andrew asked me a month or so ago, a couple weeks, do you think this would be good for the board? And I said, absolutely. To have this information in online, and for anybody that wants to look at it, it's just one more way of them connecting, people connecting.
Yeah. Alice's it's a United Way report. Used to come out every 2 years, now comes out, it's gonna be an annual report to keep things more current. Alice's, it's asset limited income constraint employed. So it's the working households that still struggle to make ends meet. It's the group that's just above poverty, but they don't qualify for a lot of assistance programs, but still can't make ends meet. Ends up being what a lot of businesses, municipalities use as the data and the guiding, to help guide decisions on what's going on in the community. So we can go down one slide. So it's, like I said, the most comprehensive estimate of what it costs to live in each community throughout the state. And we've got some of the stats from Marquette County there. This year, the most recent report, Alice households are 24%. It's 41% are what's considered the Alice threshold. So those in the Alice population and under, so it includes poverty also. So 41% of our community makes those tough decisions, and a lot of this information is tough to understand for a lot of people that don't live in that situation, just because of what, really what it costs to live. We're looking at survival budgets just to get by. We can go down to the next one.
So 41% of the 67,000 people in the county are struggling, just less than half,
Yeah,
to try to make ends meet.
yeah,
And that's important when we think about doing villages and asking for more money.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll look at some what that budget looks like in a second too. But yeah, it's important when you're making those choices. When you think of who's in the Alice population, this highlights a few of them. It's the child care workers, the waitresses, home health care aides, office clerks, salespeople. It's people that we all depend on every day. Even if you're not part of the Alice population, you're impacted by it because you're going to go get coffee and groceries and go out to eat and go shopping and stuff. And the Alice population is the one that's really taking those positions on. And if they are making those tough decisions every day of how to get by, there's a good chance that every one of them had the choice, do I put gas in the car or get medication for my kid today? And don't get gas in the car, then how am I going to get to work? And then it impacts really the whole economy across the board. So I look at the next slide, you can see the trend over the last 10, 15 years. Overall, the Alice population's been increasing. The last few reports, it's gone down. But this last one, we saw the poverty go up. And some of the big swings with this, we get the data, and it seems every time this data comes out, there's something big happening. That's the one report came out, and I think I was planning a presentation, and then COVID hit, and everything shut down. So that almost voided the data because things were changing so much. The next report came out, and that's when a lot of the COVID funds were starting to be cut back. And, you know, we continue to see, you know, big things with services being cut, assistance being cut, taxes, you know, it all affects this population much greater. We can look at that in a second. The next slide shows where Alice is. So the report not only breaks it down by the county level and throughout the state, but we get data for you know, each township, each municipality. Greatest is Powell Township. 71% of that population is in the Alice threshold. Michigami's up there also. Marquette Township, we are at 38%, so we're better than Marquette County, but still 38% is significant enough to have impact on, you know, something to consider when making decisions for the township. As far as the budget, there's two different budgets. There's the survival budget, and this is very basic cost of living and survival. It's housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, and basic technology. And the thing I get questioned on with this most is the housing. You know, you can't find a place for $733 a month in the area. But again, you have to look at the households that are in this population. You've got a family of 3 or 4 living in a rundown studio apartment. So it's very bare bones housing, if they can get it at all. You know, family of 4, just to survive, it's almost $75,000, and that is below the median household income for the area. So you really do need dual income in Marquette County now. If we look at the stability budget, the next one, this is, you know, maybe they have family, instead of living in a studio apartment, maybe they have a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment now. Maybe they have a car that's a little bit more reliable, or maybe they have a car instead of taking the bus. It allows a little bit extra for savings, so just a little bit more comforts, but still at that level of making the tough decisions of gas, food, medication. What do we get this week and this month? And for that family of 4, looking at $115,000, 127 if one of them's in, if there's childcare involved. So when I look at, you know, some of the, we just had the Renovari housing development come that's supposed to be workforce affordable housing, and then you look at, you know, 38% of our residents, and, you know, the stability, the comfort budget per family is $1,500. So, you know, when I listen to housing developments, I kind of think of, does that even serve the population, 38% of the population that needs it the most? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But that's really where, you know, that's where some of these numbers really can help out. As far as like the cost of living, everybody knows the consumer price index, and that's been going up. That's the bottom line, the dark blue line. The top line, the yellow line, is for the state of Michigan, and then the orange line is the Alice population. And this is looking at, when you're looking at the basic household necessities, the cost of inflation is, it's impacted a lot greater for the basic necessities. They're not concerned with, you know, what inflation's doing to the price of a Mercedes. They're looking at it, what's the price, what's inflation doing for eggs and gas? And so that's what the difference there is. So when everybody, is complaining on how prices are going up, just think of the Alice population that's really struggling month to month. They're getting impacted at even greater levels. I'll just kind of look at this stuff real quick. Some things that we're looking at that's United Way. This kind of gets away from the report, but daily I'm kind of looking at how can I help shift that trend to go down instead of increasing. This year I partnered with DoorDash to make free deliveries for food and basic essentials, primarily from the food pantries and like the Feeding America food trucks. We've also done VITA, and I know AARP Foundation does VITA also, but it's the majority of people that we serve with VITA is households that haven't filed taxes in several years. And they didn't have the technology, the skills, the knowledge to file them, and they didn't have any money in their budget to pay someone to do it. So this was able to do it for free for them, get them caught up on the past couple years, but give them that extra month or two of a little bit of security, or to save up, or to get tires on their car so that they can continue to get to work. And then we're working on a shared service project that will be coming out hopefully soon. For online resources, I don't think the link's probably going to work. It's a demo link. It's not live yet.
Okay. Oh, it is.
Oh, it is. It's still not live, but the link works. So here, it's an interactive local report. So that number shows Alice in the central UP, and then you can click on those once it's open to the public to compare it with different communities throughout the UP. And then if you scroll down, right now we have housing, childcare, and food there. We're eventually going to add all the basic necessities of what people are needing, especially in the Alice population. But if you click on food, that's one that's most built out. So it gives all the food assistance programs throughout the area, what they have, their hours, their eligibility, because with transportation the way it is, and eligibility and just getting to the resources, that's a big hurdle, which is why we started the DoorDash program. But people struggle to get to the resource and then find out that that pantry doesn't have what they needed. They don't have pet supplies, or they don't have dairy, or meat, or whatever's needed. So this really helps narrow it down. You can enter in zip code and pinpoint where all the services are. This one again specific to food, but there'll be a tab for each of them. And then it tells who's eligible. And as we're building it out, we notice that there's a lot of eligibility for these programs once a month. So you can go to a food pantry once a month to get a box of food. And if you just think of in a month how much food you go through, a box once a month isn't going to go too far. So a lot of families are having to go to multiple sources or just go without. But there's the full report. It's online. It's open. United for Alice, or United Alice for Michigan, and it's a full report throughout the whole state, and you can dig into the data at any level, whether you want it based on region, need. It really goes into a lot of really good depth and good information. And then the final thing that's on the slide, but we don't need to get into, but we are looking at building or committing, working towards a community of excellence. And it's really getting cross-sector leadership from, it'll be United Way, it'll be the education sectors, governments, childcare, economic development, healthcare, really all the key sectors that keep a community going, getting those leaders together, just have the continued conversation and make sure that what everybody's working on has some common goal for the community instead of everybody working in silos. So that's starting up very soon. I don't know when. It's on my calendar.
So when you say partnering with DoorDash, that means you're paying them? They're not gonna volunteer, right?
So
Or they might.
DoorDash is giving us a deeply discounted rate, and then we get grant funding to pay for the other part.
So,
And we actually just got another grant to continue it from DoorDash. So even though they gave us a discounted rate, they're also giving us the money to pay them back. So works out well.
good deal, yeah. Yeah, I suppose, because you've got people that they can't drive, or there's nobody to go get that box of food or something, so they need some way to get whatever. Of
Yeah.
course, they'll do meds and everything, right?
Yep.
Okay, not just food.
Yeah, because we hear a lot. We, as United Way, we fund and do all the volunteer recruiting for like the Feeding America distributions. And I'm always hearing about people that live quarter mile, half mile away that desperately need food but can't get to it. They don't have a vehicle. They're not going to walk that distance and then carry a 50-pound box of food back.
Or on a bike or something.
Yeah, so they just don't, even though it's right down the street, they just don't have access to it. And so now we can deliver it to them.
So is United Way the hub for all of this stuff? Because we've got different groups in town, like you were saying, pulling everybody together. Are you gonna be the umbrella of kind of trying to facilitate this?
As of now, yes, but if I achieve my goal, then no.
Okay. Everybody will kind of,
Yeah,
it'll
it's-
be another group.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be, everybody kind of steps up and helps. I'm just trying to be the one to
Get
kickstart it.
started. Right.
I just have too many other things to be in charge of.
Yeah,
So,
great. Any questions for Andrew? Pretty amazing stuff. Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, community linkage. John and I met with Representative Carl Bonack on Monday to kind of talk about Forestville Road to see if we could get our foot in the door for another appropriation at some point. He was extremely receptive and totally understood. I had maps and Pete Dukes was there from the road commission and he was firing questions to him. I thought it was productive. John did a great job of representing our interests and our requests and our health, and people keep saying that we're just doing this for the development, and that's not true, because we started this a long time before we even knew about that area developing. If you remember, we thought we were going down 492. We were talking about water going down that direction, or we figured the development would be going there. But regardless of whatever the solution is, we still need to try to fix that intersection, no matter what happens. So anyway, that was one good meeting I thought wanted to share. And I've got an Semco alert that came through that I just wanted to share. Customer fraud alert. Apparently, Semco customers are receiving unsolicited phone calls requesting personal information to confirm some kind of a rebate eligibility. So do not trust the caller ID. It's going to say Semco apparently. Don't provide any personal information. Hang up and report the call to Semco if you can. So that was a good alert that just got, which I appreciate. County Road Commission pretty much just paid their bills and did their normal business. But the county board last night did quite a few things. The UPCO is going to be working on a 62.5 megawatt solar energy facility. I shouldn't say, yeah, they're exempt from UPCO, so it's a separate one. They didn't say who. Might have been in the packet, but, so that's probably Republic and Sands will be the two that are gonna have some kind of solar energy that I'm aware of then. They didn't have any conversation about the jail update that they want to try to build. Speaking of taxes and millages, they're going to talk about that next week. They have a meeting of the committee next week, so maybe at the following week they'll have something on their agenda. They reappointed 2 Solid Waste Authority members, Glenn Adams and Helen Wilson as the alternate. And then they made a road commission appointment, and I was gonna look up the spelling of the gentleman's name. It's Gary Lidla, I think is how it's pronounced. He's gonna be the road commission seat that they appointed. And then they went into closed session to talk about the applicants for the administrator's position. So I thought that was encouraging. They committed to making this one work. Solid Waste Authority just met. That was quite a discussion. They spent a lot of time talking about the fly ash that BLP is offering them. Well, not offering. They're offering to pay 1.7 million, but it's 80,000 tons, I believe. And the problem is that it may be toxic. And the discussion went on and on and on, and I couldn't even hear all of it because, again, the microphones weren't the best. But they're looking at that 1.7 million as a big helper for what they would like to do and not having to raise tipping fees. But if the stuff is toxic, and then they're talking about having respirator masks for the people that are working with this fly ash, and it's going to be floating in the air. And I mean, it was a good discussion, but if I were on the board, I'd have said nope, 1.7 million or not, and that's like $20 a ton tipping fee, 21 or something like that. And one of the things I was going to tell you is that ours is going up the 1st of July to $87. So they're asking to pay us this, a fourth of what we're all paying. So that was again part of the discussion of the board. So I think they made a motion to say that if the test results come back that they can use it, that they will accept the 1.7. I don't know. I couldn't quite tell. I'll have to wait till the minutes come out to see for sure. They also talked about their 5-year financial plan and their budget, but there was nothing in the packet. So during my public comment, I said, if the information isn't here for the public and it's not on the website, I went to the website to see if there was even a draft or something. So there's no way of knowing what their finance, other than the information in the packet, the regular financials. And they had a violation, and it wasn't real clear, of the intergovernmental agreement with asbestos being hauled to Wisconsin. But I asked them, and I didn't get any answer. Of course, it's public comment, but sometimes they will respond. I don't know what community it came from or if it was a particular hauler. But the agreement says that anything that's generated in here has to go to the landfill. And they can actually revoke the hauler's license. The authority can do that. That's in the IGA too, in the governmental agreement. So I didn't get any answers on that, but those were my questions. It's like, what are you going to do about this? And they had something about an ICS issue with the attorney, and I asked what that was, and I didn't get an answer. I don't know what that is. So it was kind of an interesting meeting. I had to hang up to go get my picture taken. Anything you're hearing from the public? Linda?
So I'm hearing that, I was at Lions Field as well. Busy, very busy. Lots of little kids, young kids needing to use the restrooms and it's locked. So unhappy parents that it's locked by the playground. Not wanting to use a portage on, I can understand that. Someone suggested, could we have some hand sanitizer stations there? I think that might be doable. We'll have to ask Lenny, but yeah, so that was, I didn't sit there very long. And those were the comments, but it is certainly being used. Lots and lots of people, lots of cars, and nobody's speeding. So that's what I saw.
Great. Anybody else?
Was it the last meeting that something was mentioned about people camping out down at the Schwimwood Park? Or was it before that?
Maybe.
I was just asked about it today because people that have gone down to the hikes and there were some people camping down there for a couple of weeks, and what do they do about it? I said, call the office. Call the office right away and let us know.
I called sheriff, I'm probably faster, but here's fine too.
We won't approach them without a sheriff's deputy present, so calling the sheriff's department is definitely the best bet. And now that you mention that, it wasn't that long ago. One of the 2 prior meetings, we did have some illegal camping issues at Schwimwood Park, and it happens every year. I think they kind of get bounced around by many people like us that don't allow the camping on property, and they're probably just going in a circle. It's just a part of doing business. But thanks for that. We can certainly go and check again to look.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Then our only policy discussion tonight is the Windows 11 update. Falls to John.
The reason this was requested to be added as an emergency item tonight is because there's so much demand for Windows 11 upgrades now. They can't honor their quotes beyond 48 hours. That's the reality we're dealing with, and it's all thank you, Microsoft. We knew it was coming, we just didn't know that it was going to be this desperate. And the unfortunate thing is, the majority of our devices were purchased in 2019. That makes them 6 years old. They're due to be replaced anyway, so I guess fortunate, unfortunate, however you want to look at it, they may be upgradable, but they're due to be replaced anyway. So we've got 4 devices, 3 of them are laptops, one's a desktop, that we can upgrade because they're not beyond the end of their useful life yet. We have 4 laptops and 11 desktops that need to be replaced. And we are buying a longer warranty now, and a lot of that is just based on the quality that you get when you buy these expensive. They're far more expensive and far less reliable. So it's kind of that insurance policy. So for us to get all of our devices up to Windows 11, $30,638.58, and this is through our contracted IT provider. The intention is to use those cable TV franchise fees that we collect every year. This year we anticipated revenue of $60,000. We have spent about $25,000 so far this year on our server upgrades. So this would be within that total that we anticipate receiving by the end of the year. That's not to say that we haven't yet, so we'll probably have to do a transfer from the fund balance to make this happen in a timely fashion. Because if you authorize it today, I'll go back to my office and approve the quote so that it doesn't expire and we have to do this again in 2 weeks.
Does that include these?
No,
I can't tell you that for sure because yours is in the yellow category on my list, which it means it's due to be replaced. but I don't know if this list is accurate for yours. Do you remember how long you've had this?
Since I came on the board, 5 years.
Okay, so it should include yours. It may be one of those things where we have to change the type of device, if that's the device you want.
So what does everyone else have here?
We have a mix. I think there's two of the tablet styles, and everyone else I think has laptops. Yeah.
So it does not include the board's devices?
It does. It absolutely does, yes.
It does, okay, all right.
I just don't know if your specific device is, because they're calling them laptops and you don't have a laptop.
Okay.
Well, I had ended up having to do mine, if you remember. I
Correct.
think it was this year or whatever, and you said.
Yeah, we
Linda's was
replaced
ready to do it too.
probably 4 or 5 devices in the last year or two that just failed. So they had already reached the end of their useful life. So that saves us probably 5 to 10 grand this time.
So you have to figure out which of these work, or our IT people can figure out which ones?
They have the list.
Okay.
I need to confirm that they don't purchase a laptop for somebody that needs a tablet.
Gotcha, okay. So this would be, the motion then would be with a maximum of 30,000, because it could be less. If there are different ones, or,
Yeah, I would say not to exceed.
okay,
And if there's something significant, I'll have to determine if it's within my purchasing capacity or not without coming back to you.
sure.
So, no matter what, you'll end up seeing the final invoice.
I'll make that motion, as much as it kills me, that's been that kind of money again. But it's the cost of doing business. It's gonna have to happen.
I'll support.
Okay, any questions for John? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, nobody can do anything without the computer. I mean, it is a cost of doing business. Okay. Any public comment? We're at the bottom of the agenda. Okay. Any announcements? Randy, you usually have something.
I have
to
some.
announce. Oh.
No, I don't today.
Linda.
I'll do it.
Okay.
The Community Day flyers are ready, and you will see them on the back of your water bill in July.
All right.
And I will attempt to post some at places where people post this kind of information. And it's exciting. Our theme this year is princesses and pirates, so come dressed as a princess or a pirate. Should be kind of fun.
The Facebook event has been created for that, as well as an additional post on the township Facebook page.
Great.
That's
So,
my announcement.
when and what time?
August 2nd.
Okay.
It starts at 3. 3 to 6 p.m. will be the free family fun. We're hoping for trivia from 5 to 7 and the live concert from 7 to 9.
Okay.
So trivia is open to everyone. See how smart we are.
And you'll have, is there food or ice cream?
Is there food? There's ice cream.
Okay.
Ice cream, popcorn, cheese sticks, yogurt. Yeah,
Great.
yeah, so it should be fun. Bring whatever else you
It was
want.
busy last year.
It was busy.
They were doing questions on the master plan. which was
Oh,
really
yeah.
good. So a lot of people participated in that.
And we're hoping this year to have some responses from the master plan to put up for people to see.
Oh,
So, it kind of follows through then. If you're asking questions, getting feedback, then like the poster for our priority goals, we'll create some posters like that. So yeah, people can see that we really moved forward.
good deal.
We hope.
Anything else?
I just put a plug in for the Marquette Township Business Association started their annual raffle this week. So tickets are $5. It goes through, I think the winner's drawn at the tree lighting, township tree lighting.
Oh, okay.
And they'll be selling tickets at Community Day.
Yes.
Is it like 50/50 or, I think I bought some of
I
those.
think it's a 50-50.
I can't remember. It's been a while, last time we had a meeting. Okay. I was gonna mention to you that you were supposed to do some kind of report, and wondered if you've been to their meetings.
There's the report.
Okay. That's your list of reports,
Yeah.
right? Okay. That's okay. All right, manager's report then. You have a report.
I don't have a written report, and I think the verbals have been working pretty well, so as long as I can give you something useful, I'm hoping you'll continue to accept it that way. I do want to mention that our building and ground staff was out installing the signage along the Well Road between Grove Street and the new trailhead today. That includes no parking signs along the majority of the length of that piece of the Well Road, so that if we ever, God forbid, have to get EMS or fire out there for any kind of emergency response, the road won't be blocked by vehicles parked along it. We may have to add more signage in the future. We're trying to do this on a minimal budget at this point. We also took the old sign that was on the gate, had it made on, I don't know if it's 4x5 or something like that. It corrected the issue we had as far as unleashed dogs being under control. That language has gone away now according to the revised ordinance. It includes no camping, no overnight parking, no fires, disposing your trash in the proper containers, all of the necessary things to hopefully maintain a respectful place for all users. It looks good. We have a new stop sign at Grove Street. The Well Road is identified by a street sign that says Well Road. It's kind of on the map. And thank you to Andy in particular for making all that happen. Very little effort on my part. I told him what we needed, he made it happen. And haven't seen the invoice yet. It'll probably be a little bit more than we ever want to pay, but everything costs money.
And then we were gonna pave some of that gravel and.
That was
Approved that
approved at the
last
last meeting. I would guess when Lenny's utility work patches get done, that approach on the Well Road as well as the short piece of diorite over here will probably get paved at the same time. Fingers crossed.
Makes sense. Any questions for John? Or did you have?
There's one other thing that you should be aware of. The plan when we repaved portions of Moran last year was to chip seal the whole thing all in one shot. That will happen next year when the road commission comes back to this end of the county. So we are planning to crack seal Werner Street from Ontario towards the city. That is a local road, so it's our responsibility, not county primary.
This year, you mean?
This year.
Okay.
And we are also looking at pavement markings. Boy, I'm drawing a blank, but I know there was one specific road. There's another one that we should have added and I didn't get it to them on time, which is South Vandenboom. But those are some of the other things that we try to chip away at every year with that annual local road money that we have. And reminder on that one, any money we spend on an annual basis now is general fund money. The millage money is not even covering all the debt payment, so that's just the way it is. If the general fund wasn't able to subsidize that road funding, we would not do annual maintenance.
And that was supposed to be a 15-year plan.
Well,
With all
we're
the
definitely
cuts.
paying debt for 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just the general fund is subsidizing it for 15 years too.
Mm.
Some of that may be attributed to the whole dark store issue.
Yeah.
So people need to know that
Okay,
we
part of it.
did get the tax dollars from the residents. What happened was the dark stores came into existence, and that's why the board did a good job of planning, but they didn't know that was gonna happen, and that's what cut the road millage.
It's not just the road millage. The law enforcement
Right.
millage is the same way. The general
The
fund is
library,
subsidizing
yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah, so just so people don't think they didn't do their due diligence in planning that
Planning,
out.
yeah. And state cuts and revenue sharing, and there's a lot of contributors, but yeah, the dark stores really made a big difference. So no questions for John? Okay. You want to review our 2 or 3 motions?
Yeah, the first motion was to approve the consent agenda as presented. The second motion was to approve the regular agenda as amended. And that third motion was to approve the Windows 11 upgrades. That's it.
Easy night. So the KBIC request will be on there from the fire department next month, yeah, because the next meeting's July 2nd. And I'm sure something else will come up.
Do we not have the TIF proposal for Renovari?
That's right, I thought of that, I was talking to Ann, emailing right before I came in here, so yeah. That'll be the proposal, TIF proposal. I was telling her when I found out about Munising's, she wasn't happy either.
Heard anything more on that?
No, the manager, Munising manager, told me that he would be there for 2 weeks and then he was taking on another job somewhere else, so I imagine they're kind of in chaos with, I didn't ask him if he had his replacement already, so I imagine they're busy with that.
So there was a television, TV6 programming on the Renovari project, and Munising's now moving forward. So I don't know if anyone else saw that, but,
That's what
Yeah.
he was saying, but he hadn't heard from them. I mentioned it at the last meeting.
yeah, but it was on TV6 that it was moving forward with Renovari and the Native American group and someone else. So I'm gonna have to take a ride to Munising and see what it's looking like, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them to get housing. The city is moving forward with some housing, some rental housing for low income. Andrew might know more about that than I do.
Oh, our city.
Our city of Marquette, down by Spring Street.
Mentioned at Munising.
Yeah, I'm guessing people have seen that? Yes? No? No one's seen it? Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, they've got a lot of units going on.
Well, no, this is different than what they're putting up to rent to general people. It's for low income.
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. It's exciting. We should all be excited. We need all that housing, right? Northern's moving forward.
One house at a time, eh? What else? Any other comments? Okay, we need a motion to go into closed session.
I move to go into closed session with, for MCL
I support that.
15.268A at the request of the employee.
Support.
Support. Okay. All in favor?
That's a roll call
Oh, yeah,
vote.
roll call for-
Clerk retires, yes. Trustee Winslow?
Yes.
Trustee Kidda?
Yes.
Trustee Leighton?
Yes.
Trustee Everson?
Yes?
Treasurer Rickower?
Yes.
And Supervisor Durant.
Yes.
We're in closed session at 6:38 PM.
Kicking everyone.
Okay.
So